Hey.
Hey. Hey.
Hey. Welcome back to page 3. I'm Ellie.
And I'm Sydney.
And happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
If you saw our most recent episode, I said something at the end to Sid that it was me and her were going to see each other soon. Like when the episode aired, I would see her the next day, and which was crazy for the two of us because we're in a long distance friendship. For those of you who don't know, or those of you who are new here. And as Sid was leaving, it was like the most traumatic time she's ever left. We were like trying to change her flight desperately.
Oh my God.
We were like trying to fix everything so that she could stay longer. Maybe I would come visit. Like I just did not want her to leave so bad.
This was
So
24 hours ago, to like make this clear. Like we
yeah,
were like sitting, we pulled up to the airport as I'm refreshing my flight, trying to rebook a new one that is under $500. Like full panic. Everything of the week, the fact that we're leaving like comes crashing down. We're like looking at calendars of like, when do I see you again? Like
yeah.
it was full on long distance relationship cries at the airport.
Like, and we just had like a journey. When Sid was here, we just like went through a journey. We were both just super stressed out of our minds and like super just like, I'm still stressed out of my mind. Sid's still stressed out of her mind. We're just like, now we just don't get to be together to rant about it, which sucks.
Yeah.
And my dopamine plummeted after she left because I was like, wait, what do you mean? Like, I left the airport and I was like, she's not here to like constantly chat to me about like all of the different things. Like, I don't get to like have her here. And I started bawling last night. I mean, like full on fucking sobbing about it. I also started talking about like other things too, but like really, it just was made worse by the fact that I don't get to have my best friend there with me. So then I was like, you know what, Sid? Like we should talk about like we tried to film this in the car on the way to the airport and just wasn't working. So I was like,
No.
Sid, we should just film an episode. We're filming this on Wednesday, mere hours before this comes out, and it's all about how to survive long distance friendships. How does it work? What's the situation? All the things.
Yeah.
So this is
Yeah.
our take. This is our pieces of advice of what we learned, both in the friendship that we share and both in the friendship that we share with other people too.
And also,
And
like,
this
this is like so ongoing. Like, you learn as you grow and as you go. Like, the beginning of like when me and Ellie really like it really set into us that like, okay, we're this is how we have to see each other. This is how this works. What looks a lot different than it does now. We've really gotten into like a groove. I also think that since you're seeing this mere hours after we record it, like actually like mere hours, I feel the need to preface that we actually had a completely different video filmed for today.
Yeah.
Or a completely different episode filmed for today. But after our traumatic 4 days together, we felt like that needed to come later and that this needed to take the forefront. I just spent 2 weeks traveling and being in a different country, and Ellie had to submit her novel a month earlier than she anticipated. So we were really relying on each other in the 4 days we had each other. So we felt like this took the precipice of what was important.
And I think because Sid and I, like, we work together and this is our dream and we want to do this. We love doing this. But ultimately, our friendship is like our top priority. So when we see each other, we have this really hard struggle where we're like, I just want to spend time with you. Like, I have to tell you every meaningless thing that I did. Let me give you a haul of all the shit that I bought that's completely like stupid. Sid showed me everything that she got when she was in Europe. I showed her everything that I forgot to show her that I got. I reorganized my room when she got here. I got a bookshelf since she's been here. Like, we've done a lot. Like, that seems meaningless to you. That's a pinnacle point of our friendship. Like, we have to share every meaningless detail with each other or we don't know what's going on. And
Also, there's something really unique about working with your best friend because me and Ellie's friendship is so deep that it's a double-edged sword. It's amazing because I know that she just knows what I'm thinking when I think it. And if I tell her something, she just knows exactly what I need in the moment to deal with it. However, she also knows me to that degree, which means when you work together, everything's aired out all the time. So like we had a conversation the other day of her being like, do you want to do this for the podcast? And me being like, do you want to do this for the podcast? And then we had to sit and be like, you're a people pleaser. No, you're a people pleaser. Would you people please me? Would you people please me? So I think that's also something that in a long distance friendship and in friendship in general, we're learning and dealing with as friends and figuring out. So as we go through that, it's only fair to include you.
Totally. All right, so you go first on your first piece of advice because I think, well, we both kind of had this piece of advice, but I liked your little tagline for it.
Okay, my tagline is they're your best friend, not your boyfriend. Insert whatever partnership you're in the boyfriend term. However, I say this because I love to know every minute and every detail of Ellie's life. If you're going to the grocery store, tell me. You go to the bathroom, Love to know. I want to know all the details. However, there's a line between envy for the people that get to spend every day hanging out with your friend or get to be like, I get envious of the fact that Ellie is surrounded by friends and like gets to go do these things with them and I can't be there. And that's like sheer envy of like the fact that I can't be there. Like, not because anybody's doing anything wrong. I'm just like, oh, damn, my life would be so awesome if I was there right now.
Yeah.
And the difference between that in a friendship and that in a relationship is you don't want that to breed like resentment or jealousy of any kind. Like, I know that if she has 10,000 errands on the docket and like a million things, like, I'm not going to be sitting there stalking Find My Friends being like, why didn't she respond to me? Why didn't she tell me she hung out with this person? Like, she has other friends in another life and I have other friends in another life. And at this point in time, like, those two things aren't completely meshed, which I think if you've ever been in a long distance relationship in general, you can understand. But the desire to want to hang out every day doesn't go away. It just doesn't. Like, there are so many times where I text her and I'm like, do you want to go do this? And then I'm like, I have to delete this message. We don't even hear each other. And then I get really frustrated at the world because I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But they're not your boyfriend. You don't need to track their location every minute of the day. You have to be okay with open communication in the sense that, like, yes, the big things, totally going to tell you.
Yeah.
Even the mundane things, even the little things, even if I go to the bathroom, yeah, girl, I'm telling you that too. However, if that conversation doesn't happen till 3 days later because we both got wrapped up in things, that's just life.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But I think the fear of missing out on the other person's life is so much stronger than an in-person relationship. Like with my friends that are physically here, if I don't hear from them for 3 days, we don't make plans, we don't talk, I don't have that fear of like, oh my God, I need to be in contact with them and I need to like make sure we're good and whatever, because they're present with you and they're in your little bubble. And I think the fear of missing out on that person's life when you're so close and the fear that distance can like drive you apart if those days pass, like, oh my God, if a week passes and then a month passes and then, oh my God, like, what do we even have to talk about we're living in our own separate worlds, can be really, really scary, especially if you have friendship trauma.
Mm-hmm.
I promise if you guys just talk, plan a once a week debrief at least. It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I really agree with you. I think that it's like in terms of Sid and I's friendship, we have like days where we'll be on the phone for, I kid you not, 11 hours. Like, and
I
like
wish I had a screenshot of that call log that said 11
I
hours.
we had like one call that was that long, but otherwise it's like, we'll do random errands together and we'll sit on FaceTime and it'll be like she's here and stuff like that. And we also have times where we're like, I think it also takes personal strength, and I think this is just advice for a friendship in general, is that like I think the friendships having breathing room and periods of grace, especially as you get older, of just allowing your friends to like go and do their things and it not be such like a holding people to a certain standard or feeling that they have to communicate with you a certain amount of time. And if you want them to communicate with you a certain amount of time, then communicating that and making sure that's like realistic to both of your lifestyles. Because I know that the best friendships that I have and the ones that feel best to me are the ones that can kind of ebb and flow with me as my life goes. Like there are days where obviously I want to spend all the time in the world with my friends, but life doesn't always permit that. There's also like mental health things where I just want to be alone for a day and I don't want to speak to anybody and I don't want to be on my phone. I'm like, that's not nothing to do with you. And I think that it's a lot easier for a friendship to like thrive and grow if you grow with the people and the stages of life that you're in and understanding that, which takes a lot of just like self-reflection, I think, that you have to do.
Also, I think this is the most applicable to people our age right now, like what I'm about to say is if you're in that post-grad transitional phase, it's probably one of the first times in your life in which your community's really shifting. And not just shifting in like you've outgrown people, but shifting in the sense that like people are moving away. People are starting different lives. They're moving in with their significant others. They're getting engaged. They're starting 9 to 5s. And I think part of being an adult, especially in this phase of life where you're like just starting to become a real adult, is learning how to navigate friendships in that. Like if you went to college, you're really used to living down the hall from your friends and getting to see them at all hours of the day whenever you want. And I think one of the things that, like you said, I've had to learn is you have to give grace, like you said. Everybody is going through something right now. Everybody is dealing with something. Everybody has different days. And I think you have to have a level of trust within yourself and with whoever it is that you're friends with, 1 of them, 5 of them, 10 of them, that the relationship matters and that sometimes has to be enough. And I'm not saying it's always enough. Like, there is a point where, like, okay, you're like, if you want a village, you have to be a villager, like that whole saying. But also, there are going to be phases and periods of time, especially during this transition, where somebody takes 3 weeks to get their bearings and you don't hear from them and they need to like sink back down and like avoid all conversation and construction and whatever. And that doesn't mean that the relationship doesn't matter, but you have to give your friends the benefit of the doubt of like, okay, she's clearly going through something, like, or they're clearly going through something. And like, I know that they care about me and I need to be secure in that and know that I matter as a friend and that that's okay. And you don't need to always, as I do, go into the mindset of, oh my God, I must have done something wrong. I need to rethink every interaction I've ever had with them because if they're not talking to me for this long, I did like, it's okay. It's
really
okay.
okay. I agree with you. I'd say my point, my like piece of advice is like kind of in lieu of what we were just saying. Really, I think that like a great example of this is I have like one of my best friends, Maddie. She lives in Amsterdam and she's going to grad school there. And so the time difference from California to Amsterdam is like pretty intense and like all these things. And we have like a weekly call where we talk every Sunday after I like driving home from work when she's going to bed. Like we talk every single week. Sometimes we can't talk and it's totally okay. And there were times in the beginning, like when she was going through these life changes, I was just going into grad school. Like she's been there for, oh my God, almost 2 years now at this point, which is insane, or like a year and a half. And we would have these periods of time, like for weeks and weeks and weeks, we'd have these 2 hour long phone calls because so much was changing in our lives. Like also Sunday's a great time to talk because like not really lots going on anyways. We would go with like 2 hour long phone calls. The people that she was meeting, the people that I was meeting, these new systems, being in grad school. What was it like? What is it like graduating? How intense it was. Like we were both equally in these spots in our life where that were very like there were constant changes. There was so much that I had to catch up on every single week. And then kind of hit a point where I was like, oh my God, like Maddie, I don't even have time to talk for 2 hours this Sunday, or I don't even have enough to share with you to talk for 2 hours every Sunday. And we had this conversation with each other of like, it's okay. It's great for us to just have a 20-minute conversation where I just tell you, like, guess what? My favorite bone broth brand is on sale at Whole Foods. Or, oh my God, did you see so and so is going to be in this new show? Or, oh my God, have you been watching Traders? Don't you love this reality TV show? Or all these different things. Like having those stupid conversations on top of all of those really, really dumb ones are just as important. Especially like when you're in winter and not a lot is happening in your life and like it's just the same like rinse and repeat. Like Maddie is doing her thesis, I'm doing my thesis. So it's like every week I show up, I'm like, Mads, like I wrote more pages. That's all I got for you, girlfriend. Like I wrote, that's all I have. Like I wrote it in the podcast. Like that's what I'm up to. And I think it's really important to share both dualities of life and just like enjoy conversation other than having to like unearth the big things. Of like having these really deep conversations when I'm telling you my life is so exciting and so fun. Like it's okay for you to have like nothing exciting to share.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like sometimes it's just the companionship that matters of like, I get to hear your voice for 20 minutes, proof of life. I just want to know that you're good. I just want to hear from you.
Yeah.
That there's anything that you want to tell me. Did you try a new food? Did you go to a new restaurant? Or did you just have a long fucking day and this is you saying hi and that's the end of that? Like I really agree with you. That kind of goes into my next point. And I wasn't going to tagline this one, but then it just, when we were talking, I thought of a quote that I saw today that's like, you don't have time, you make time.
Oh, wait.
And this, bear with me, there will be a line drawn to where I'm going with this, but you don't have time, you make time. When you are friends long distance, whether there's a time change or there's not, or you just have completely different schedules with school or work or whatever it is, there's going to be a lot of days where you can't talk and there's going to be a lot of days where you can't update each other, and that's okay. But when I say you don't have time, make time, most of the time you will not have time. That is just the reality of it. But make time for something that is not that serious, something that you guys can look forward to. It can be something as stupid as me and Ellie's favorite one is if I know she has to write and I want to read, we will sit in silence while she writes and I read. We're not even talking. And we make time because during our day, I know that she's going to have to write for 10 minutes. I know that I have to read for X amount of time. I know whatever it is. If we didn't call and do that silently in companionship, we wouldn't have any other time in the day to talk to each other.
Yeah.
So we made time. We just decided that like, okay, I know this works for us. Or if she's going to the farmer's market and I'm going to the grocery store, let's just do that together. And it can be as simple as one of those two things or as simple as the 10 to 40 minutes at the end of the day that you take to do something that's not in your schedule. What I mean by that is me and Ellie started Traders together when we were in person. And then we obviously, I know, we're not done yet. Nobody spoil anything. We haven't finished. We're very behind. But we couldn't watch, obviously, together in person anymore. So we were like, okay, we're going to call and FaceTime on Thursday and watch. And literally, like, on mute. Like, you don't even have to talk. You can just be like, pause. Okay, what do you think? And that's something that we were going to do in our day organically alone. So when I say you don't have time, make time. Most days, especially, again, to reiterate, if you're in this transitional phase, you're just not going to have time. Your days where you think you have 3 hours, all of a sudden the day is gone. And you're like, oh my God, I still have laundry and I still have to cook and all of these things. Make time in that schedule to coincide with each other if it's the only time you're going to talk that week or interact that week. Especially if that person is your closest friend, it's so hard not to get to do those mundane things or those exciting things. You want to be like, oh, let's go watch a movie at the movie theater, or let's go on a walk together. Like, you obviously want to do those things. So if you're going to do them in your own life, find a way for you guys to include them together so that you can just enjoy those things. And it also takes a lot less effort than being like, okay, today at 3:33, I have to call you at this exact time and I only have 11 minutes to talk to you before I have to go into my next meeting. Like, guys, it doesn't have to be that deep. It's okay.
Yeah, it doesn't. I also love that Syd does something that I really love. And in the morning, sometimes throughout the week, I'll wake up to a vlog from her. And it'll be like, okay, it'll be something like, she'll give me like, I don't answer my phone. And which I usually don't answer my phone for like 1 of 3 reasons. I'm writing, I'm sleeping, or I'm doing something else. I don't know
Also,
what.
I would like to say that the reason I send the vlogs in the morning is because if you know Ellie, you know that for the first hour of the day, she doesn't go on her phone. So I know that she's already awake. So I'm just leaving this for her to see.
like a little treat. Yeah. And so I go and she sends me these vlogs of just like, it can be like her making her coffee in the morning. Like this morning she showed me how she makes her like brown sugar latte. And like refilled her like little like tomato can. And I was like sitting in bed and I was like watching this thing and I was like, oh my God, this is so fun. It also brought me like a lot of sadness because I was like, oh my God, I want to be there. Like, I want you to be here with me. Like, I want us to hang out. Like, it sucks. Like, nothing about it is fun. It sucks. But I think that like,
I forgot I said that to you.
no, it's so fun. Like, and we were like talking about like the book that we're reading right now for Book of the Month for the podcast, and we were talking about like all these different things. And I don't know, it's just like a fun thing. And I'll send Syd photos, but I'm more of a texter because I'm a writer, obviously. So I like brain dump text her things where I don't even think she's like knows what I'm saying half the time. But like I'm like just brain dumping all these things. So that's like something that we've really consistently done, I think. And like Syd loves a vlog. She's my favorite influencer. Like, I'll see her outfit from yoga and like her hair and all these different products that she's doing and like just fun stuff like that that just makes it like a lot easier. Now this one, oh wait.
I was just going to say that that's also like works so well because we can't always talk on the phone or FaceTime. And I'm not concerned of like when I send that video to you, I'm like, I hope she responds in 5 minutes and tells me she likes my outfit. I'm like, this is my verbiage to you for this period of time. When you get to it, you get to it. But this is me exuding that effort to you that I am speaking to you.
Yeah.
And like, if that's the only time we get to talk, you heard my voice. I got your 17 texts in out of order thoughts, and I appreciated every single one of them.
And we also like, I think voice memos are great. Like, as an aside, voice memos are great. I love a voice memo because I can listen to it like it's almost like a podcast to me. Like, I'll listen to it like on my drive and then I'll send one back. It's super fun.
My number one tip is to start a podcast together.
Okay, so then my piece of advice, or I guess my last piece of advice would be, which is a little bit harder and a little bit more complicated, I would say, but I think it's really great to have like scheduled times that you're going to go and visit your friends. I think that obviously that can be really complicated. So like Maddie lives in Amsterdam, which like getting there is just like harder. But I still make the effort to go. And she still makes the effort to come here, which is amazing. And so I think just having that time of like, okay, like I'm gonna come and see you around this time, or just making an effort and being like, I really want to come and see you. And if that's not like in your financial like abilities, totally understand and like completely get that. And if you live 2 hours away from your best friend and you're not going to see them, I am so deeply jealous of you. Like, that's all I have to say. Anyway,
I like fly across the country. Dead ass. And I understand that that's not in everybody's financial thing, like you said. I really take advantage of my miles, I'm gonna be honest.
Yes, go on.
But it's more just like that being able to look forward to something. It's like it doesn't seem so indefinite. Like even if I know that, for example, when we were in like beginning stages of college, when I still lived in California full time, when I would go to school, we could look forward to the fact that I'm seeing you at Thanksgiving break, winter break, whatever, which is different now that we're like adults that have jobs and schedules and things.
Right.
But it's just nice to look forward to something. Like I have to be in LA in a couple of months for something else I'm committed to. And I literally was like, okay, we're going to do X, Y, and Z for the podcast. And that's my excuse to come for those 3 extra days to see you.
Yeah. I love it. Like, I love it so much. And I like Syd, I went to see Syd even before we started this podcast. I saw her. I think I visited you twice. Both times I came to visit her in Wisconsin in January. And
no, you've come 3 times.
No, but last year. Last year
you came twice. Yes.
2 times. And I came to see her dead of winter, Wisconsin. Okay. Like, it was awesome. I loved it. But anyways, I think that like having those times like Syd and I would totally, you do not need to see your friends like once a month because we have the privilege of like Wisconsin to California is not like a hard flight. Like it's very
not
like,
ideal, but it's okay.
It's not ideal, but like LAX is a huge ass airport. Madison is a teeny tiny airport, so it's kind of hard to get there. But it's not impossible. So we try to see each other once a month. And Syd, technically we did see each other in March because you left on
the 3rd or something.
Yeah. So
it also, we do have the privilege of doing this podcast together and business together and life together, like with this entity of Page 3, because that is like a major reason why we are obligated to also do these visits. Like there are things behind the scenes that we have to do in person.
Yeah.
And so it is nice that like we have the external motivator to be like, okay, God, it fucking sucks we're not together right now, but at least I know that on this calendar we have this meeting, so I'll be there. Like,
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Or Syd and I always joke that we are going to be like, when we have a company card, it's a company expense. Like her coming to see me is a company expense. What are you talking about? It's a tax write-off. I don't actually know how that works, but it's a fucking tax write-off.
Let my dad hear that part. To the opposite degree of my point of the boyfriend thing, there is elements of it where you're like, fuck, like this is a whole ass relationship, because it does require more effort and commitment in certain ways than a normal friendship, because you don't have the luxury of time and place being on your side all the time.
And you don't have the luxury of like piggybacking onto routines. Like I think that Syd and I, the thing that we crave most when we're gone and apart from each other is like, I cannot wait when Syd gets here to go to yoga, to go to the grocery store, to go to the farmer's market together, to go on walks. Like I can't wait to do like, I don't care about like the big things like dinner. I don't give a fuck, like a nice dinner out, drinks, going out with each other.
Me and Ellie in all of our visits in the last almost 2 years now, we've had 2 dinners. We've gone out to eat twice.
Every other time we order or we make, because we just want to do the mundane shit together. And like if you don't have the luxury of piggybacking onto like routines, like join me for this section of my routine today. Like let's go to yoga together. Let's walk together. Like, those are really, I don't want to say easy, but those are really like, they're easier to intertwine into your day.
Because they're pre-existing.
Exactly. And so making that effort to like go out of your way, kind of to like make a call on your drive, to drive, like to get out of your routine to be with the person that's distant from you, it goes such a long way. And I still feel so connected to my friends even though they're thousands of miles away. And I think it's a really great privilege to be able to have such amazing friends and to have people that I can connect with and that care to connect with me still. It's like this great privilege. And I know it sucks to be far from your friends. And if you're really sucking, then you can always subliminally message and bully your best friend into moving close to you, which is what I've done. Every time she moves here, I show her apartments that she can be at. Every time I'm like, you could take my room.
She'll be like, we should go to this place that I know you really like because you talked about it one time. And it's like my favorite restaurant in my hometown. And I'm like, well, yeah, obviously now I miss it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know how to show her what her future can look like.
Yeah. She's really idyllic about it. But also, like, I moved. I think I have like a weirdly unique understanding of this because I moved like a shit ton as a kid. Like, I 7 schools, 3 countries. I did the whole thing. I moved a whole bunch. And I have a very, very long-standing friendship with my childhood best friend from 1st grade. Like, literally the second time I moved ever. And we're still so close. We talk I'm not going to say every day because that's actually just like not true at all. But like we talk enough. I know the big things going on in her life. I know that she's okay. I know what she's up to. do. We go on vacation if we can with each other's parents and whatnot. And I think I moving a lot, and especially in like the formative years of like elementary, middle school, pre-teen era, when there wasn't like people weren't on social media. Like Instagram at that age wasn't really a thing yet. You didn't have a phone. You had like an iPod,
Yeah.
if that. And like your parents had Blackberries. I, when I first was in college and my friends were like back home, had like paralyzing anxiety because of this, because I was so used to being like, okay, you move and then you lose contact and then you never see each other again. And other than Hannah, if you see this, love you, girl, who's my childhood best friend, I didn't have anybody I stayed in contact with or whatever, because when I had moved, that just didn't exist. And so I had this paralyzing fear of like, oh my God, I'm going to go to college and we're like just never going to speak again. And all these things are going to happen. And so I understand the anxiety of like distance and how that affects you and how different it is from normal friendships, especially if you're like an anxious person and all of those things. But if you both care about each other, or you and your friends, like especially if you're in a friend group that's all like moving to different places post grad, like how my friend group at college is, if you all care about each other and you didn't have a problem in college, like we were all in different sororities and different friend groups, if you were able to make it work then, you will be able to make it work after.
Yeah.
It's really just takes some willpower. Like that's all it is. Like you just have to give each other grace and know that you're all going through different things, but if you care about each other, then you will allow yourselves to go through those periods and you'll be fine.
Totally. I think it's amazing how you've been able to maintain friendships and the way that you've learned how to maintain friendships because you've traveled so, like, because you moved so much as a kid. Like, I know that's really hard for you and the source of a lot of anxiety. And yet, I think there's like a level of resilience that you've had now because
Oh,
you
thanks.
know how to like maintain a friendship. Also, Sid and I have been through
Getting
a lot of.
deep on the pod.
Um, I also think that Sid and I just have learned each other's like the way. Like, I have another friend of mine, Jamie, who we literally text every once in a while, and like we'll just like, or we'll call, and like I'll just tell him the big things that are happening in my life. Like, it's so nice to feel like you have like your friends or your safe space that you never have to like make. It's never. I don't think like in the true friends, like your real good friends, like they don't want to talk to you. You know what I mean? They don't not care about you. You know what I mean? It's just life gets fucking insane, and having an ability to just like ebb and flow and like those friendships where you feel like you could have not talked, like Sid and I, like we didn't talk for 2 years out of no circumstance other than just time and life and things. It was so nice to know that I can pick up the phone and it's like no time had passed at all, and it's like catch me up, not what did I
She
miss. And
literally came to visit me 2 weeks later. Like all
yeah,
was well in the world.
it's so chill. And those are the friends that are really worth your time. So the ones that aren't like keeping like a track of how much you talk and all these different things. It's just like it's never out of a lack of care.
No,
Sometimes you just can't talk, and that's all right too.
totally.
So thanks for listening
Yeah.
to our advice.
Take it with what you will. You know your friends better than we do, but
We do. Also, if you're new here, we do this thing called Book of the Month, and we just started a new Book of the Month called The God of the Woods, and we're about to get into that section of it. If you're not into that, totally, we'll see you next time. If you are, welcome to Book of the Month time.
book of the month time. Yay!
This book,
This month we have a honker.
we have a honker. Also, I think it's hilarious that this book doesn't have, though it's like we're reading the most amount of chapters per week. If you're new here, God of the Woods is our book of the month for March. We just started. We're doing 24 sections, 24 chapters at a time because there's 96 chapters, but really it's just 96
I was gonna say by chapters we mean like names. Like
names and
each, it's
people.
not labeled by numbers.
It's really broken up into parts. So it's like part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, whatever, part 5, part 6, whatever. So I have been listening to it, which has been totally different experience. I'm obsessed with this book. I love it. I feel like I'm really in this story. I love this writing style, but I want to hear your thoughts before I get into mine because I don't know. We haven't texted about it at all, actually.
Yeah, we haven't spoken about it at all, which is quite unusual, but we
Very
recently,
unusual.
after the last book of the month, discovered that we read at different paces and it stresses each person out.
Mhm.
So if I'm like, where are you? And we're at different spots. And then, so we didn't talk at all this time.
Yeah.
So you're hearing my thoughts for the first.
Can't
Okay,
wait.
so I have a lot. I'll try and speed through them. My initial thoughts were about the mom who
Alice.
married Alice. Were about Alice. And it was that the way that she thinks about people, specifically like her daughter, and is really interesting to me And I just feel like it was very real to me because that's like, I know people that experience that from their mothers or like just other people in general.
You mean about, like, how she, like, manages what she eats and, like, talks about,
And
like
also the fact that we're getting her internal monologue and like her innate thoughts on like when the phone's ringing and she's like, why didn't the help answer the phone?
Yeah.
And like things like that. And it's not even like the disrespect because her tone isn't angry or nitpicky or
Like, just
judgmental.
assuming. She's very
Yet
assuming.
her and it's habitual. Like it's
Yeah.
innate in her. Like she's not even trying to think it. So those were my initial thoughts.
Alice is a very, like, very interesting character to me.
I don't get her quite yet.
Yeah. Well, okay, so can I just be honest on the pod real quick?
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm not gonna it's not scary. I'm a little bit ahead because if you don't know, I'm writing a novel right now, meaning that I can't, like, I really gotta I really gotta read what I'm reading. So I'm trying really hard to not
Spoil anything for me.
spoil anything, so I'm trying to, like, base it off of what you're saying because 'cause you've read this section and I'm further like, a little bit
So
further.
you're only like 10% ahead of me, which makes me feel better.
Yeah, no, I'm not that far ahead of you, but I'm just, like, because everything happens so quick, you find out so much so quick, and I'm just, like, trying to, like
Also, you're listening to it, and since there's no chapter numbers, like as you're listening to it, you don't know where you're at, like in
I
the
have no
document.
idea where I'm at. I just know that I'm, like, I'm actually at Alice is talking to me right now.
Okay. My next thing is a quote, and it's inside jokes, Tracy thought, a term that terrorized her with its implication that anybody who didn't understand them was by definition an outsider. And I love this quote because I have never, the way that they articulate her social anxiety, Tracy's social
Yeah,
anxiety from the get go is, in my opinion, the best written articulation of social anxiety I've ever seen portrayed in
completely,
a book character.
completely.
I thought it was so well done. And that quote just really stuck out to me because the fact that she's saying that the joke itself is not the issue, but like what it means and what is inferred, like you can tell that she's worried that the people around her that see that she doesn't know the inside joke are gonna assume that she's the outsider. Like that degree of overthinking of it was just so well articulated. And I just feel like I like young me really identifies with her because she has this paralyzing fear of fitting in. But even though she's scared of like desiring to fit in, she also is so accepting, like sad acceptance
Yeah.
of the fact that she has just resigned herself to believe that she's just not going to have that.
Mhm.
And that like acceptance, but like it's really not acceptance. It's like pushing down the desire to just have a normal childhood. I thought it was so well articulated. And then I'm still not unconvinced about this,
Mhm.
but I do think there's a history between TJ and Luis that is maybe more romantic than we're being
Okay,
told.
okay, I didn't write any notes for this, obviously, because usually when I'm listening to it, I'm driving, so I'm not gonna stop
Yeah.
and wrote, but I did write one thing down in terms of my feelings on God of the Woods, and it
Yeah.
was where is it? One of them has got to be a lesbian. There's no way there isn't. I
No.
literally, like, you could not tell me there's not gonna be one lesbian.
So I think that TJ and Luis have a lesbian history. I don't know this for sure. It has not been confirmed. I did not look it up. I will not look it up. Let me explain my thoughts. I know Luis is engaged. Okay. It's been talked about since the beginning that she's engaged to John Paul. However, when she goes to TJ to tell her that Barbara is missing, she says that she knows her better than most and has admitted things to her that she would never admit to anybody else, and that their relationship is different, and that she's also stayed in TJ's house one time for a whole week. At this point, we didn't know that she was engaged. So I did write, and who is John Paul? And then that was chapter 6. Chapter 8 came, and the only note I wrote is fuck John Paul. Okay. Then I
He
have that Alice, when she sees Barbara's mural, the way she articulated that she came to terms with, like, her in the moment realization of, oh, this isn't anger, it's envy of the fact that her daughter just
totally,
had the balls to feel free
totally.
really stuck out to me. Another point where I thought the author's articulation of feelings, especially from a third person story, was immaculate.
And the way that she is able to switch from person to person to person to person to person and have their internal monologues that are so clear and so different. The fact that she can write a 13-year-old to, I think Luis is 23,
Yeah.
to Alice who's
So,
40, and she
and
can
then
go
to a
through all,
murderer who's
and
like
then
an antagonist.
yeah, and then Jason, and then all of these different things of like, and then there's another character that gets added in later, and that character is like totally in a different sphere than the rest of them. Like, the way that this person can also hop from completely different social classes, because Tracy is, like, new money, Luis has no money, and then Alice has, like, generational wealth, but married into
Yeah.
it, but she also grew up wealthy. This ability for her to be and
Crazy.
weave these stories, and also she bounces between 1975, 1961,
And you can
1975.
tell if you didn't read the title of what year it is,
Yeah,
you could tell instantly.
exactly.
I have a lot of like, in this is really just a lot of examples of where I was, like, so floored and awed
Yeah.
by her articulation of internal feelings, especially third person. I think it's so hard to do that. I was so impressed. Then I said I'm still thinking about how Carl said recently that there was something that Bear said he couldn't shake. I know it's when Bear admits he doesn't like his grandfather and Carl could see that it made him uncomfortable. That's just sticking out to me as deeper than it is. Like, I'm not saying that I think that the grandfather's going to become the one that did all of the bad things. Like, that's not where I'm going
Sure.
with this. I think that's too obvious. That would be really crazy to admit that this early in the story and that be the truth. Maybe it is, and maybe I'm just overthinking it. However, I don't know. Adding that in feels less to me like trying to lead me in that direction, but more intentional. So, especially with how intentional this author has proven to be. So, I'm just wrote that down. And then my overall reflection that I wrote at the end is I think we need to give some credit to Liz Moore, the author, for being able to create and fully develop so many characters. It definitely takes a second to orient yourself at the beginning of the book and figure out who is who,
Yeah.
as well as how
Yeah.
it's all connected. I had to reread quite a bit to recall who is who. However, each character is very distinct, has their own voice, their own thoughts, their own internal monologue. You can feel their emotions differently. How Tracy experiences anxiety versus how Alice experiences anxiety is very, very different, and you could hear it clearly in their voices. You can tell they all have their own personality. They're well done. And I feel as though each chapter that happened was I could really feel like I was switching whose mind I was in, and I felt like that was more difficult to do than I as an author, that's difficult to do.
Really difficult to do. And, like, that's what I kept wondering when I was reading it, because the way that it's woven together is so amazing. Like, the way that the timelines all work, the way that it's all I wondered, like, I really wish I could ask the author, like, did they write it to be, like, did they write Tracy's, like, entire story and then just break it up and then, like, we
So
like,
that's what I
created
was
this
thinking is
puzzle.
did they in my head, the author either wrote it back to front or did each character arc and
That's what I was
smushed it
thinking t
together.
and merge them all together, because there are certain places where, like, one so it'll be like Tracy 1975 July, and then it'll switch to Tracy 1975 August, and then it'll go back to Tracy 1970 I don't know if it's this exact, but Tracy
Yeah, yeah,
1975
yeah.
July, and the last word of July and the first word of July, like,
Line
with
up.
this middle section gone, line up. It's so perfect, and, like, the way this author is able to, like, you get right back into the story every single time, you know their character arcs, you know the things that make them, you know this character so well. Like, I genuinely feel like I fucking know Alice.
Yeah.
I am so in love with this book. I think it's so good. I just think this author's like, the writing of this novel is
From a
immaculate.
writing perspective, it's insane. It's also just really crazy to me is like I only experience anxiety in the way that I experience anxiety. I also only experience emotions in the way that I do. Like I'm not experiencing them in the way that you do.
Yeah.
And the fact that she can write multiple emotions, not just anxiety, but anxiety, happiness, fear, resentment. The fact that she can write these emotions as the characters experience them in completely different ways and
Yeah.
still make them so real and accurate is crazy to me because I cannot imagine writing anxiety as anything other than the way that I feel
Yeah.
it.
But she knows how to make anxiety from, like, I remember what it was like when I was reading Tracy's point of view, I was like, I know what it's like to come into a circumstance where everyone else knows each other and you don't know each other, and to get that anxiety across so specifically. Then it's like Luis's anxiety, who's like, she's married to this fuck ass guy.
Yeah.
Weirdly, even though I'm gay, I know her anxiety now because I feel
Yes.
like I'm experiencing it. And then Alice, who's a full-on mother and has
Yes.
lost a child, I now know her anxiety. Also, the way that she depicts Peter through Alice, fuck Peter.
So well done the way she
So
depicts
well
that
done.
because the way she explains the trajectory of, oh, he used to think that my lack of common sense and intelligence was funny. Like, that's why
Yeah.
he picked me
Yeah.
because I was easily manipulated. And now he doesn't think it's funny anymore, but it was his choice. I didn't ask to marry him. Like,
And she
the
was
way she explains that
18.
is crazy.
She was 18 when she got married to
Yeah.
him. He's a lot older.
He was 29 when they got married, or
That's
30 by the time, I guess.
insane.
But the
That's
other crazy thing
insane.
to me is like Tracy experiences a lot of the same anxiety that Alice experienced when she was first brought into Peter's
Yeah.
world, and they are written completely
I
differently.
was
Like,
gonna say that Tracy and Alice have such similarities, it's insane, and
but you can tell that one is a child and one is an adult the way that they're written. It's
totally
unbelievable.
but they're both getting, like, and I think that's always, like, a really great ploy that authors do when they bring it's like a fantasy novel in a sense of, like, the character. And I know people are really tired of this in fantasy novels, but the main character will usually be new to the world because it's the easiest way to get people acclimated, like to get the reader to be acclimated at this brand new world is to bring it through like it makes the most literary
Yeah,
sense.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
why would a character that knows this world like the back of their hand explain what a keyboard is, explain what a water bottle is? You know what these things are, it doesn't make any sense. But if you're new to the world, everything that you're explaining makes sense. And I
Yeah.
think that the way that Tracy has come into this situation. I never for once until right now in this moment thought like, oh, like it's a great ploy to like acclimate the reader into the world. And now I'm thinking like that's a really great way to like get the reader adjusted into this beautiful world that you've made. I love that it's a camp. I love that it's a summer camp where they come back every time. I love TJ. I love the way that TJ is depicted, and I love a character that's silent and somehow barely comes on the page, but
And
you
she
know
holds the most power to me.
so much power. She's the most power. And I'd love to see her and Peter interact because I think that Peter would lose. Peter 2
I
or
think
Peter
that
3.
TJ and Luis have had some sort of relationship.
I want the
It
two of them to end up together. Please.
I really do too. I also want really, really just like my heart when Tracy was explaining the way that she looks at the popular girls and how she wants to put them under a microscope and inspect them because they're this like unattainable object to her, like
Yes.
science project. And then Barbara, who is this very unconventional popular girl, but she's really
Totally.
only a popular girl by name. But if she had
Yeah,
any other name, she would actually be completely unpopular,
totally.
as defined by this world that we're in.
Totally.
And the fact that this is the one that gives her attention, and because it's the first time that she doesn't have to look at this person under a microscope, they're openly presenting themselves to her, that she's like,
Yeah.
I think I'm in love with her because of how I'm thinking about her. Like, I have
Yeah.
so many questions for her. And I don't know if she is actually in love with her, if that's what it'll come to be, but I think the really raw juvenile curiosity of that friendship, the way
Yeah.
it's depicted of like, why would you feel this way about a friend? Like, why do I want to ask her all these questions and being unsure of like, do I have more feelings? Was so raw and well done. Like that, like
Yeah.
made me, I like really, really just, oh my God.
I know. I know. I love this book so much. This is my favorite book we read such thus far for Book of the Month.
Me
This is
too.
actually only our third book we read for the Book of the Month, and yet it's my favorite. I adore this book. I think it's so great. If you don't even want to read it for Book of the Month and you just want to read it on your own, please go listen to it. It's so
This
good.
is not anything what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be super thriller
Mhm.
adjacent based on the back cover. However, it is so emotionally in depth and so well curated
So
that
well.
I would say that other than it being set in a human world, it actually, in my opinion, aligns more with the depth that comes from fantasy in the sense that there's like war and mystery and thriller where you're on the edge of your seat, but
Yeah.
you still get that character development.
It's also because the Lars are so in a world of their own. Like they are
I mean,
elitist
they
and
transcend reality.
really wealthy, and they live their
Yeah.
own really distinct life. So you're like living through the lens of like, what do you mean you just like have this giant party every summer called the Black Fly Goodbye? Like, what the fuck is that?
What do you
And then
mean
what?
you shipped your house from wherever the fuck and had it? Like you shipped they brought their house
Yeah.
from one country to another.
Like what, why? And then like also they just like had this summer camp idea because they just wanted to have a summer camp, and like they live in Albany, and that like they have like this is just one of their house. Like it's just such a
Yeah.
like you're entering like an elite society, but also this elite society is set in the Adirondack woods, and because it's so isolated from everything else, you feel like you're your own entity completely because
Totally.
you're cut off. Like the closest town is not like
It's that
Shattuck, and
town
it's
that TJ's from, or
yeah,
Luis,
Shattuck.
sorry, that Luis is from, and it's 5 miles away.
And it yeah, and it's like this it's just such a like most of the world doesn't live like that, right? Like a lot of people
Yeah.
don't, or at least, you know,
To our understanding,
to
at
my
least.
understanding of the world, like obviously I'm skewed because I grew up in California, but like it's such a like unique thing. And also I love one more thing I'm gonna say is that I love it when a book tells you why there's a title. Um, do you remember this from the book? Okay, it's because the god of the woods is Pan, and so his name's Pan Does this come in now?
Yes, it
And
does, it does, and it's the
yeah,
Greek god story that that
yeah.
TJ
And then if
explains
you
to
say
them.
panic, yeah, if you say panic, that's going against the god of the woods. That's why you sit down and you yell for help. I love that like, and that
That
being at
is
the beginning of the
wow.
story is really good for me because it's like that's like the whole title, like panic, and it's about panicking and like the god of the woods. This book is so well done.
Yeah. Also, last thing that I totally agree. Last thing I'm gonna say is that about the panic thing is that one of the first things, literally the first point of view we get from Tracy is her saying, and the counselor said, if you, it's literally like, I think it's the first or the second chapter. And before you
Sit
even
down
get to
and
her
yell.
being, yeah, and before you even get to like the steps that led her to learn that rule, you hear her anxiety about learning that rule first, and then you get like the backstory.
Yeah.
And so at one point she says, I questioned to myself, how lost would I really have to be to sit down and yell, and would anything come out? Like what would my voice sound like?
Yeah.
And the fact that she just had this pivotal moment in which she doesn't really know how to define her friendship with Barbara. This guy, that the guy that plays the guitar, is all of a sudden giving her attention, and he likes
Yeah.
her, and she kind of has
Yeah.
a crush on him. And all of
Yeah.
a sudden she's going through this weird shift where for the first time in her life she thinks like, okay, I can do this. Like I can do this. And then that's a scary feeling for someone like her that
Mhm.
she's going through, that they ended off her POV of her sitting down and yelling. Really, like, my mind immediately went back to the thought where she was like, how lost would I have to be? Because I feel like it's so metaphorical and symbolic that she goes through this
Completely,
shift.
completely. And also, like, the idea of I really loved the idea of how lost you have to be because it's also, like, a pride thing. Like, you have to admit that you're lost. You have to admit and, like, the fact that people
You have
because
to
it's
admit to yourself.
it made me wanna go to the Adirondack woods and see how actually dense they are because I know that it keeps being described, like, how easy it is to get lost, and, like, you could get lost, like, 20 feet from the trailhead, which is insanity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that should be our first business trip, Sid, is going to the Adirondack woods and seeing how insane it is.
And finding this.
Okay, well, we love you. Thank you for reading along. If you haven't read it, pick it up at your local bookstore, and we hope you enjoy. Keep reading along with us. We're so thankful that you're here. This is for you. Always, 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 always. We love you, and we'll see you in the next chapter.
We love you. See you in the next chapter. Bye.
Bye.